Hello, friends. My name is host Derek, and I am the host of Talking with Famous People, the man sitting in front of the whiteboard and wearing a hat. I'm here this evening on Sunday evening to live stream for you and for me. We've got a dual purpose, both altruistic and selfish, I guess you might say. So I've repositioned the camera. I don't know how you guys like this. You might say to me, Eric, put it back where it was. That's certainly a possibility. I could scoot it over a little bit, maybe. I really want it over here, but it's not going to reach over there. So anyway, on this fine Sunday evening, we are having a little more rain here in Los Angeles, which is crazy how much rain we've been getting. But I don't anticipate the kind of electrical problems that the previous rain caused because this rain is much less substantial. Hello, Jerry like the mouse. Asher Oak, yo. These are some of the words we say to each other when greeting. I had a rather long day traveling all the way out to distant Simi Valley north of Los Angeles for a debate tournament. And didn't stay the whole day or anything, but nevertheless had a bit of a long day. And I'm happy to be home and happy to be pulling some bong rips and discussing whatever people want to talk about. Very Eric, how are you this evening? Mostly good. Mostly good. I could use some soda here, I think. I got some household chores done before starting the live stream. Moved the wood pile, arranged it nicely, makes it look nice. And that in general makes me feel a little more balanced. Like, okay, I didn't just do metaphysical stuff. I do. I appear very Eric. Very Eric is the name of my fragrance, by the way. If you guys are in the not supermarket, but the department store in the fragrance aisle, stop asking if they have Very Eric. It smells a lot like me. Basically, it smells like weed and cigarettes. Little bit of a chicken poop smell there. A little bit of chicken poop smell. Mostly weed and cigarettes. We've got a bit of chicken poop on the back end of the palate. It's what makes it special. Kind of like how Oh No Hawaiian Barbecue puts tuna fish in their macaroni salad. And until you realize that's what it is, you think it's delicious. And then you go, oh, tuna fish in my macaroni salad. And then it doesn't seem so good anymore, right? I think you get what I'm saying. Well, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm really up front and personal today. I'm right here with you in the room. It has a small percentage of Kimberly's fragrance included in it, that which is rubbed off. Yeah, a little bit of that. But mostly it's just various unpleasant smells mixed together, which surprisingly smell wonderful when mixed together. You wouldn't think that. Ruben, you wear my fragrance, right? Very Eric.
Yeah.
And in the morning, I see you splashing it on. Smells like weed and cigarettes and chicken poop. But it's a good musky smell, right?
Yeah, ladies love it.
Yeah, ladies love it. They can't get enough of him. They're all over his ass. Thanks, Curtis, about my beanie. I appreciate that. Hello, Planet Ketchup. Who do you think would be better at reading poetry, INFP or INFJ? I guess it would depend how much the INFP feels it. If the INFP is feeling it legit, like, oh my God, this poem speaks to me and my life, then they'll probably do a good job of reading it. But in general, FE is going to be better at presentational stuff, but not necessarily speech contests. As a speech coach and debate coach, I can tell you that. Oh, really? I'd be interested in watching that. Jason Rodriguez. I can tell you that plenty of FI people do well in speech competitions. Brenda Lee says, hello! Hello, Brenda Lee. Yo, if anyone likes UFC here, a big fight is on tonight. ESPN Velasquez versus Nagano. That seems interesting. Rick Benson? I don't think Rick Benson likes poetry. I think he dislikes poetry. Well, I'm going to miss that, Jason Rodriguez, because I'll probably be live streaming at the time. It's unfortunate. I do like MMA. What type love to do poetry slams and raps? Well, I've done one poetry slam contest thing at Cal State LA, and I was disappointed in it because I didn't win anything, not even honorable mention. And I thought my poems were way better than the other people's poems. But I didn't do that whole streets, darkness, ghetto. There's a fork in my gut. Stupid shit like that, you know. I was thinking you should make a video on FE stick. Everything about FE that doesn't have to do with social graces, because that was overemphasized when I was learning about the function. Oh, FE stick, right. Yeah, there's plenty of FE stick in the world. It's I'd say most FE is probably stick that is memorable anyway. All the burns and subtextual disses and stuff like that. You like MMA? What type do you think Conor McGregor is? His shit talk is insane and creative. Might be ANP a little. I don't know. I'm not that huge of a big fan of it. I mean, I do like to watch the fights, but I don't follow it, you know? Hi, all, says Between Two Worlds. Hi, how are you this evening? Brandon Lee says, NF is a great rapper. NF could be a great rapper. NT could be a great rapper. STPs could be, ESP could be a good rapper. I don't think ISTP could. ESTP is going to be much more of a, well, not going to be as ideationally clever, but that doesn't necessarily make things better anyway. Yeah, it's like, yeah, they're going to be more like aggressive rap, some sort of, I guess you'd say, percussively styled approach to rap rather than linguistically styled. So, I mean, there's lots of things that ESTP can do that ENTP can do, and vice versa. It's just that each one is better at their respective thing. Both the action types can do a lot of different kind of actions. This can't go there. Let me put this here, and then I'll turn on this heater. Okay. ESTP has good timing, punchline placement, or even FE manipulative ability for use for success, things other than social niceties. Well, I mean, I think ESTPs are the master of FE for concrete social outcomes, like sex or promotion or get the job or whatever. They're much more outcome oriented with their FE than ENTPs are, I think. Or I guess it's a different kind of outcome. We're more concerned about your lasting perceptions. They're more concerned about getting what they want. Was a goat in school because of that. Got away with so much I shouldn't have. I would suggest that you shouldn't have forced you to go to school in the first place. Brenda Lee says, Eric, my dad is an ENTJ and just started dating an ENFJ. What do you think that'll go? How do you think that'll go? Well, I think it'll cause problems ultimately because they're not providing what the other one's seeking. It's like, sure, they share the same polar, so nobody's going to be annoyed. There's going to be no SI at all, and nobody's going to care. They both countervalue any, so they're going to agree on that. They both have hidden agendas of SE, so they're going to get along fine in that area. The big problem is going to be the ENTJ seeks FI, and they're not going to get it from the ENFJ, and the ENFJ seeks TI, and they're not going to get it from the ENTJ. So I think over time, they're going to just constantly feel like this person doesn't get what I'm trying to get from them. They're not giving me what I'm trying to get from them. And ultimately, they'll probably dissolve. But there's a lot of things that kind of suggest it might work too. So just think about it. Hello, just think about it. I like that term milky rib. I've never heard it before. I'm going to have to use it myself. Next time I see Kimberly pull a big rib, I'll be like, damn, shawty, that was a milky rib. Like that. I get at least 5 charisma points when I adopt the colloquialisms of youth culture. That's true. When you get older, you get points for that. We register with the old people board, and then they send us our point sheet. What's up? Rattling, Rattles. Rattles McGee. I don't like your rattly ways. So, I do, as mentioned, like to adopt youth vernacular, including words like dank and smash and which is really popular with the young people these days. I don't know if you're familiar with that one. Does the hidden agenda of ETPs make us a tad narcissistic and attention whorey? In the non-clinical sense of narcissism, yeah. We want to see ourselves on camera. We want to hear ourselves talk. And if you're a good-looking guy, you probably want to look yourself in the mirror and go, I'm looking sharp. You like to hear other people validate you for various things. So if you call that narcissistic and attention whorey, then yes. But, I mean, remember, those two terms are the most FI-biased expressions of what we are. The fact that we seek validation or affirmation from others is a reality. Whether or not that counts as being an attention whore is very much a issue of value bias. If you really don't think people should seek attention or validation from others, then you need to be authentic in yourself all the time. You're just expressing an FI bias anyway. Sheila, fair enough. I thought ISTJ. I see a lot of SI in my life. Just think about it. Is the tool function typically stronger than the dominant function? No, but more noticeable or more consciously identified with sometimes. Like if you talk to somebody who doesn't know anything about functions and you explain the functions to them and just say, okay, these are the functions. Which one do you think you most are? That most newbies would pick their tool function. But that doesn't mean they're better at it or they're stronger. It just means they have the most conscious understanding of how they use it because they don't use it in more nuanced and sort of conscious ways like you do with your dominant function. How does an INFP's third slot scorecard portray relative to an INTP's third slot scorecard? Same thing. Just it's like they both want to make a scrapbook. Basically, it just contains different things. The INTP scrapbook contains their genius ideas and being published in the academic journal and uh, you know, getting written about in the local paper for figuring out this supposedly super difficult math formula or something like that. They'd like their book to be filled with their accomplishments and that are consistent with their nature. But INFP wants their book to be filled with authentically realized things like the right relationship and the right experience in that relationship, plus creative endeavors that are not so ideational, but like in terms of abstractions, but are just expressions of feeling, creative expressions of feeling, and stuff like that. Being true to themselves, they're going to have their own narrative. It's just going to be less FE, right? The INFP's narrative is going to be based around FE nugs here and there, and there'll be additional, understanding of the authentic self as well, taking care of themselves, being healthy, stuff like that. Those are going to be shared things, but basically, it's going to play out similarly. Oh hey oh, Angantir. Pros and cons of every type, I guess. There are pros and cons of every type.
Only pros with an ISFJ.
Except for ISFJ, of course, who are perfect. See, the only thing that throws me off is my TE is awful. That's consistent with ENFJ, sort of. Remember, it's unconscious 8 and it's insecure. You think your TE is worse than it is. You can have arrogance without narcissism, but you can't have narcissism without arrogance. I disagree with that, I think. I think you can have narcissism without arrogance in the non-clinical sense of liking to watch your shit. I enjoy watching my media. At least enjoy listening to the live streams in the car, or I enjoy listening to my own music and stuff like that. That doesn't mean I'm particularly arrogant about it. I recognize its limits, and obviously, there's a lot of people a lot more successful than I am. I don't feel particularly arrogant about the things that I'm more narcissistic about. If I'm arrogant, it's more like in the moment in response to some sort of argumentational thing. What functions types do you think relate to one being a hypocrite? Well, definitely not NETI. That NETI really avoids being open to that critique. So NHPs will try very hard to not be hypocritical. I guess.
God, you're such the perfect type.
I guess by contrast, you'd say FITE FINITE would be more likely to be hypocritical. That would be, ESFP, I guess. But it depends whose definition of hypocritical you use, of course, too. See, I don't think I'm being hypocritical as long as it's defensible language-wise. Well, I said this exact sentence. I didn't say this other thing. So this thing that might seem slightly hypocritical is actually not. It's something an ENTP would say. But
I call it being explained away.
But an ESFP or something wouldn't worry about the language. So who's actually being more hypocritical? It's difficult to say. I mean, it's definitely the case that ENTP is an objectively self-critical type. So probably, the ENTP is being less hypocritical. Okay. I agree about Barracuda seeming kind of ridiculous, not making many good points in the video. But you think he's right? And ISFJ4 would be more likely to think they're INFJ? No, I don't. Well, I mean, look, I don't think that ISFJs are particularly likely to mistype themselves compared to other types. ISFJs seem to be perfectly satisfied with being ISFJs. But it's possible, I guess, that an ISFJ could be mistyped legitimately without some sort of motivational calculus. Remember, the types who are most likely to mistype themselves are the FI tool users or the maybe FI DOMs, because they're basing so much on what they want it to be.
Well, maybe somebody told the person that ISFJs were kind of retired and very smart and therefore didn't want to be an ISFJ.
Who told them that?
I'm just saying, through the last couple of years, I know there is a little bit of a reputation that ISFJs are like a little uninteresting, a little bit kind of obnoxious, and
Uh,
We're not very smart. And blah blah blah.
Okay, I would agree that there is perhaps that unfair perception regarding uninteresting or not that smart. But I wouldn't agree there's any sort of perception that you're obnoxious. Nobody thinks of
Well,
ISFJ as being
whatever.
obnoxious.
Okay, well, I know I'm obnoxious, but I'm just an obnoxious ISFJ. But you know, there's been many a times where I like say, "Oh, well, let's go look up ISFJ," and you're like, "Well, there's no videos on ISFJ because nobody wants us to even listen to an ISFJ. There's nothing that an ISFJ is. It's very interesting to TI users or F or whatever you're."
I made a video on ISFJs last
Because I
night.
forced you.
No.
Oh, okay. Well, anyways, you've said on many accounts, and then I don't know. We just get this weird like, okay, now you just go in there and cook and put on a pretty smile face, and you'll be all right. You just look pretty.
Me?
No, there's this overall. Would you quit making me? You know what I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm
So what I'm saying is there we do get a bit of a bad rap. So that would be one reason why that ISFJ would potentially
Okay.
not want to be typed as ISFJ.
fair enough.
The only reason I agree to it is so that you can do your darn videos successfully and pretend we're duels.
We are duels.
I just kid.
What do you think about the correlation of sociopathy, psychopathy, and ETPs? I've seen charts putting us high on the scale. Skeptical, however, I'm also skeptical. I would agree that sociopathic tendencies or clinically narcissistic tendencies will correlate with a lack of empathy or sympathy, which would seem to correlate with polar FI, but I would suggest actually more strongly correlates with polar SI. So I would say ENFJs and ENTJs are more likely to be sociopaths or psychopaths. Is the fourth the focus, while the dominant function is in the process of understanding? Then the use of the other functions are like weapons, second being the primary and the third being secondary. No, it doesn't work like that. It's the dominant function is how you choose to manifest being. It could be a knowing function, it could be a deliberation function, it could be an action function, or it could be an interface function. So how you approach things is going to be contingent on what your function is. So, for example, it's an understanding process of understanding if your dominant function is a deliberation function, because then you're trying to where are you gonna go eat? Can you bring me back something? If you don't want it, I'll go feed myself after I know this. If you don't want it, don't.
No, I want to sit down somewhere. I'm really unwell.
Okay, fine. Then don't worry about it. I'll feed myself. Okay. So the fourth function is the collaborator with your dominant function. In order to be an action type, it has to be switching on and off again with knowing. So when I read that, I have to know what I know about cognitive functions and then begin saying answers. And then the TI and the NE work in conjunction as well. So obviously I'm saying answers, I'm reflecting on what I've said before, making sure this doesn't contradict it, what you asked, making sure it's consistent with that, and so forth. So it's like they work in coordination with each other. The third function and the second function differ in the nature of the value, not in their order of usage. The second one is instrumental value. You are going to use it first and foremost for most things, and it is possible to quote unquote use your third function too. However, the key thing to note about it is your tool function is instrumental in value, whereas your third function, tertiary, is absolute in value. You really feel satisfied when you accomplish things on your third function, and you don't really feel satisfied when you accomplish things in your second function because you expect yourself to, and it's just what you do. Narcissists are arrogant on some level, maybe not overtly or noticeably. They could even appear the opposite, but their thought structures are based on their inflated sense of self-importance. That's not necessarily true. At least some of my motivation to watching videos or listening to my own stuff is that I enjoy the experience of doing it. I would say that's most of it. it's the only time I really feel I'm engaging with it on an FE level. I'm more engaging on an SI level than an FE level. So when I do engage on an FE level, if I make a joke and somebody laughs and I see it in the video, like that, the time that I made you and Spacey NYC laugh with the dangling tenders joke, that was an a very FE satisfying moment in watching of it for me. But by and large, I'm kind of like interested in the ideas as I'm listening to it, or especially the live streams. I'm interested in hearing what I'm saying, what I'm reading from the chat, and it's like I don't really remember after I'm done with these exactly how it all went. If I do a live stream for 2 hours, I don't remember every single thing I said over the course of it. And when I'm re-listening to it, it's re-experiencing it in a way. And it's not exactly new,